Alright, so you already know who it is. It's your boy Sean the Chef, and today I'm going to teach y'all some easy and simple, a quintessential skill that everyone in the kitchen should know how to do. And what is that? How to cook a steak. So here I have a New York strip steak, beef loin, top loin steak. Paid $9.46 for it. Cool. Bought it this morning, had it in the fridge. And yeah, so I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show y'all how to make a steak from start to finish. For beginners, it's a simple beginner tutorial because even Sean the Chef started as a beginner. So yeah, so I'm going to teach y'all how to do a simple steak using New York strip steak. There's all kind of different cuts of steak. There's sirloin, there's top steak, there's flank, there's skirt, there's T-bone, there's ribeye, there's eye of round, there's all kind of steak. All of them are just they're beef, but it's just different cuts of beef, and some of them might have a little bit more fat content, some of them might be more lean, some of them might cook a little longer, some of them might cook a little slower, but it's just a generalized tutorial on how to cook steak. Let's get into this. Alright, so here we go. We got our steak here. So first thing you do, what I did, I just took it out of the packaging. I just ran it. I didn't run the steak in the water, but I cut a slit in the package. I ran the water through it to wash out the excess blood and everything like that. So boom, I got the steak. Beautiful steak on a cutting board. I rather it was a wooden cutting board, but look what we have. So now what we want to do, we want to actually pat the steak dry to remove excess moisture. So you're going to take some paper towel, wash your hands. Make sure you wash your hands before you cook. I'm going to just double this paper towel. Actually, I could just use one. I'm going to just actually pat that steak dry to remove all that moisture. Alright, so now that your steak is nice and dry, so obviously you see this steak is pretty thick, as you can see. You want to basically tenderize the steak. So I got this beautiful 24K gold meat tenderizer. And basically, similar to when you're making like chicken and stuff, we like to poke holes in it that not only tenderize it but allows the season to actually get into the meat and stay on the outside. So you're going to obviously wash your instrument. You're going to use the spiky side, and we're going to just tenderize the steak. And make sure don't like just baby taps. Actually hit the steak. I can see it actually opening out because it's actually like being tenderized, so it's breaking apart all the muscles and everything in there, and all them little holes are going a little season to get inside. Boom, and there you go, nice and tenderized steak. Alright, so now the steak is properly tenderized. It's not all the time that you have to tenderize your steak, or if you would like to tenderize your steak, sometimes you can leave it untenderized. I believe with it untenderized it will take a long to cook, but now we're going to get to one of the most exciting and quintessential parts of making a steak: seasoning. So the two most basic seasoning for steak is simple: salt and pepper. And that's what I'm going to do today. What I was going to actually add as well was going to be this mixed garlic and herb seasoning, but I said this is my first time, what's technically second time cooking steak. I'll just keep it simple. So boom, so you want to get your salt. I want to pat your salt and your pepper into the steak. I'm going to drizzle salt over the steak. I want it too salty because high blood pressure on that. So a little bit of salt on that side, a little bit of pepper. Alright, then you want to pat it in. Really rub that into all those little crevices you made from using the tenderizer. Okay, try and rub that nice and deep. Nice, so now we have a well seasoned, salt and pepper seasoned steak. Now, time to get to cooking and preparation. Alright, so now the steak is all nice and seasoned. When you're cooking steak, right, what you need to actually cook it. So you need a decent sized pan. Just put some, believe that's some vegetable oil put there, right, just to cover the bottom of the pan, right. So when you're cooking steak, right, the utensils you need, normally tongs or something to pick it up, and just a spatula. You can also get something like this, a meat thermometer or just a regular probe thermometer. And oh, you also need butter. And why is that? So when you're cooking steak, right? As you can see here, this is the fat side of the steak, the fatty side. What you want to do is you want to wait for the oil to warm up, and you want to put your heat to medium high. So I have an electric stove, and you see medium is about 5. So medium high could be between 5 and 6. I don't want it too hot because with steak is a very smoky meal. When you're making steak, it will literally smoke at your apartment. And make sure if you have an overhead fan, turn that on. Open up windows and everything because you don't want the fire alarm going off. It's very annoying. It's happened before. But yeah, when you're cooking steak, you want to basically, when the oil is nice and hot, you want to put it on the fat side, that big fat side, for 30 seconds. That's called rendering the fat, right? And then you would then put it on each side for 2 minutes for touching it. So one side, 2 minutes, don't touch it. 2 minutes over, flip it next side, 2 minutes. So that's basically the steak is already technically cooked, or you're basically searing the outside of the steak. No, when you come to the internal of the steak has multiple degrees of doneness. There's rare, there's medium, there's medium rare, medium well, then well done, I believe, right? And that's basically, it's just cooking out the pink in the steak. And then when it comes to pink in the steak, the pink isn't blood. That's something that a lot of people think. The pink in steak is not blood. It's a mixture of water and myoglobin. Myoglobin is a protein that gives it the pink color, but it's not blood. It's just technically the juiciness of a steak, right? And essentially here, I believe the temperatures, if you can use it 2 ways. You can time it or you can use it through temperatures. When you're using the thermometer, it's essentially, I believe, I want medium well or well done, roughly that range. It's about 150 to 160 for medium well and 160 up for well done. That's for the temperature. For actually cooking it is, I believe it's 4 to 5 minutes on each side for medium well, and then 5 minutes and up for well done. So 5 to 6 minutes on well done each side. And of course, you're checking temperature, and yeah, once the steak cooked, you stay cooked. So yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so quick little intermission. What you want to do is you need to understand a fact that some things such as oil can actually expire. And I have this since probably moved in the apartment. And just to look, best if used by October 3rd, 2023. So yeah, oil can expire, and you don't want to be consuming expired oils. You know what, you're going to be consuming oils, period, because that's not good for your heart and stuff of that nature. But especially don't have to be consuming expired oils. Oh, actually, this is a good, why am I throwing a ball? This is a good squeeze ball. But what I have this is a spray, extra virgin olive oil non-cooking spray, and this is expiring April 25th, 2025. So I'm just going to spray enough of this to create like a nice like coating at the bottom of the pan, and then we'll resume. All right, so we in the hot part of it now. So I see the olive oil. I want to put this stove heats up very fast. I don't want to get this too hot. I have the door open as well. But you see the oil is nice and runny. That means the oil is nice and hot. So it's on medium heat right now. I'm going to put the steak flat side down. All right. So what's the best way to do this? Put the steak here, and then use my tongs. Or I could just hold it. I could hold that works. Put the steak flat side down. See this hot? You want to hold it for about 30 seconds. Alright, 30 seconds. And we'll put the steak. This is very hot, so I might reduce the heat a little bit because I don't want it to be too hot. So boom. Right, so I rendered the fat for about 30 seconds, and now you don't want to touch this for 2 minutes, right? You don't want to touch that for 2 minutes. So I'll wait 2 minutes and I'm gonna flip it. All right, so within 3 minutes, I'm gonna carefully flip the steak. I'm gonna move it off the heat. I'm gonna take my tongs and I'm gonna carefully flip the steak. Carefully. Look at that. You see that? Look at that. I don't know if you can probably see it, but I don't want to leave it for another 2 minutes. Look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. That looks beautiful. Right, so now I'm going to leave it here for the next 2 minutes on the same heat forward, on the same heat. See? This heats up real fast, so it's an element, it's not flame. So you see, that's already red hot. So I don't want it to smoke out. I don't want the fire alarm to go off. So yeah, don't touch this for the next 2 minutes. So I flip it at 316, at 318, I'll come back, and then we are going to actually lower the heat to like maybe about, on this electric, maybe about between 2 and 3, so low simmering heat. We're going to add our butter, and then we're going to baste it for however long of a time we want the steak to be done. Since I want a medium well done steak, I'm going to baste it on one side for about 4 to 5 minutes. Let's say 4.5 minutes, or just to say 4 minutes. Flip it, do the next thing for 4 minutes, and then our steak will be done. Alright, so the 2 minutes has elapsed. I'm going to lower the heat. Right, lower the heat. And now I'm going to add butter. So I have these 2 big pieces of butter right here. I'm going to add that butter in. Make sure I bring the heat to about 2, because the pan is already hot. So I'm going to put that butter in. Let that butter melt. And then we're going to baste our steak. Alright. So the heat is going to go down. We're going to let that butter melt right there. And lower the brightness a little bit. There you go, perfect. You want to let that butter melt. Probably added too much oil, but that's fine. Alright. I'm going to baste it on one side for about the 4 minutes roughly. Alright, so it's been 4 minutes. We'll now flip it and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Take my time. Woo! Look at that. Look at that. That is stunning. So now I'm going to baste it for the next 4 minutes. And then once those 4 minutes have elapsed, I'm going to check the temperature. And I'm going to leave it to rest. So you want, when you finish cooked steak, it's still very hot inside. It's still cooking inside, right? You want to basically let it rest for about 5 minutes. So don't touch it, don't cut it, nothing. Because actually, when you let it rest, all that juice, all that nice moisture in the steak is going to stay locked into the meat. If you cut it immediately after you cook it, everything will drain out and you're going to get a very dry and unpleasant steak. So I'm going to just keep doing this for about the next 4 minutes. Alright, the time has elapsed. The steak is now finished cooking. Turn off the heat. I'm going to transfer it to my plate. Okay, put it to my plate. And now, I'm not going to touch it for another 5 minutes. So bring you across. There it is. There's the finished steak. I'm not going to touch this for another 5 minutes. It looks pretty good. And then we're going to cut this open and I'm going to see what our doneness looks like. Alright, so the time is now upon us. It is time to cut the steak. So remember, if there's any pink in the steak, it's medium well. If it's just, gray throughout, it's well done. So let's see what we are looking at here. Very juicy. And so it looks like we might have overcooked it a bit. We got well done, boys. Not mission failed, but we got well done. So this happens. I was aiming for a nice medium well, but we got well done. However, that's absolutely fine because this is steak. It's food. Everything is edible. But yeah, as you can see, I take a small piece. Didn't exactly get what we were looking for. We were trying to go for the nice medium well. Ended up with well done. But more importantly, how does it taste? That's all we care about. How does it taste? Let's see what we're talking about there. Okay. Well done. Not as chewy. I thought it was gonna be. Not as chewy. It tastes wonderful. I said this is mission success. You see, beautiful steak. Got it well done, even for medium well. But there's always next time. The flavor. Mm. Flavor is great. It's not tough in medium well. Probably there's a little bit of pink there, so maybe we are just on the brink of well done, but just on the brink of medium well. But here's what it is. It tastes fantastic. We cooked it together all the way through. I know you know how to cook a steak. You could try out the different seasonings. I just did regular salt and pepper. I will admit, I probably put a little too much salt. So a little on the salty side, but that's my own fault. Use the error. Add less salt next time, but there it is. And that is how to cook a steak by Sean the Chef. Proper things. And this is the final meal that the steak was added into. So here we go. We got the steak right here. Got some, I think that's called Asian medleys, like baby corn, carrots, broccoli, and I think there's like snap peas or green beans or whatever. And just some simple mashed potatoes to go with it. With some garlic and herb season and parsley in there. And yeah, that's how the final meal turned out. Proper things, proper things.